O Lord, take my love and let it flow in fullness of devotion to Thee. O Lord, take my hands and let them work incessantly for Thee. O Lord, take my soul and let it be merged in one with Thee. O Lord, take my mind and thoughts and let them be in tune with Thee. O Lord, take my everything and let me be an instrument to work. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Sairam, and welcome everyone to our next episode of Sai Blossoms series. My name is Nimai, and I'm currently residing in Oregon, Beaverton. I'm one of the YAs in Region 6 and currently serving as Regional SSC Coordinator. And I'm also a Group 3 SSC teacher. Professionally, I work at Intel in Hillsboro, Oregon as a manufacturing engineering manager. And I did my PhD and I moved here for working at Intel facility here. So today I'll be hosting, and we'll have Brother Sriram joining as co-host. I'll bring him in a few minutes, and then we have very special guest speaker, Brother Al, and his wife Roseanne, Sister Roseanne. So before we get going with the session, let me give a quick recap. So as part of this series, we started off with in episode 1, we learned about how it's important what we eat to energize our body. So we learned about ways to eat healthy and how to sustain it with easy to follow steps. And thank you for everyone who has been participating with those goal setting and submitting your numbers on the website. So it's great. Good to see we all are inspiring each other. Then we went on to episode 2, where we learned about importance of movement and ways to set small goals to stay physically active daily. And again, great participation from everyone. And I see a lot of WhatsApp messages within the groups. People are sharing what they have been doing. So again, let's keep it going. Great. And then in episode 3, we learned about self-care, how our body is a temple. And we use the self-care using very easy and quick and easy to follow yoga asanas, breathing techniques, and better sleep, which will help to reduce stress levels. So now that we progressed all the way beyond till this point, now the next step in this journey is one layer above our body, which is our mind. Now, as today's episode is silencing the mind, let's go in depth a little more into that. So we'll start off with the Swami's quote, which sets the structure for our today's session. And this is what Swami is saying. The real meaning of concentration is fixing one's mind on a particular object. After concentration, contemplation is the next step. The final step is meditation. Thus, concentration, contemplation, and meditation are the 3 steps in spiritual practice. Meditation is not simply silent sitting, closing one's eyes. Maintaining an unwavering and steady mind is meditation. People think concentration is a great exercise, but it is the first step in spiritual practice, the others being contemplation and meditation. Concentration is like the primary school education. Contemplation is the high school education, and meditation is the college level education. Only after one reaches the college level is one eligible to acquire a degree. All our ancient sages reached up to this stage and meditated upon divinity. When one reaches the stage of meditation, there is no scope for any wavering, and one's faith in divinity becomes steady. So, this is going to be our main theme of today's session. So, we will break down in this journey concentration, contemplation, and meditation. So, before I begin, let me give a couple of logistical pointers here. So give yourself the permission to surrender to the flow of today's session. Just trust the process. We're going to go through a beautiful journey for this next 1 hour 15 minutes. Whatever you experience today, it is purely your own experience and it is meant to happen. Don't compare your experience with what others may have experienced, or you might have heard that, okay, we're supposed to experience this, experience that, but I didn't get it. Let's not compare. That's okay. You have complete autonomy over how you choose to experience today's session. Trust your intuition to guide you. And we would highly recommend, if you are driving or if you are engaged in physical activity, please pause that and sit in a very comfortable position, as we're going to go through certain exercise. Like we're going to do some activity during our session today, so you get to experience what it means. And with that, I would like to bring up on my co-host, Brother Sriram, and then we'll have him introduce himself. And then Brother Sriram, please share a few additional words about what inspired you to in this journey and why this topic is so relevant to you. Thank you, Brother Sriram.
Sairam, brother. Loving Sairams to everyone. First of all, I want to thank Swami for giving us the opportunity to be a part of this session, as well as learn from our wonderful speakers, as well as Brother Nimai. Yeah, he's a special YA instrument that Swami has put in our midst for this session specifically, given his journey in this regard. And why this session? I think, brother, I think this is a session I need more than anything else. Silencing the mind and keeping it, like you said, steady, unwavering, and focused. I think I'm still, I would say, a primary school student based on what you just read out right now. And this is the need of the hour for me, especially as I don different hats and play different roles. So grateful to Swami that he's put me in the right place at the right time with the right people, with this mode of being a student. And yeah, so grateful to everyone who's a part of this session. And may Swami truly guide us in this journey today.
We'll have our guest speaker, and then we'll continue. So perfect. I would like to invite Brother Al and Sister Roseanne, if you could share a few words, and then we'll continue. Our special guest speaker for today.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Nimai and Brother Sriram, and all our brothers and sisters of the young adult community. We love that you're participating. We love that you're carrying on this great tradition, and that you're bringing Swami's teachings, the teachings of Sathya Sai Baba, into the new age personally. And this is the time of this transformation during this transition that you and everyone around you can make because of your love and your dedication to Swami's teachings and following those teachings. Very important, putting love in action. That's Swami's teachings.
Thank you for having us. And we were just, I don't know what grateful to Sai Baba that we could share our experiences with everyone. We've been very fortunate in that he's talked a lot to us in person and also in speeches that we were able to be at. And so it's an amazing thing to be able to share it. And I thank you, and I thank Baba.
Thank you. And we're so grateful to have both of you here with us. So let's get started with our journey here today. So first question we may start off with, what is the mind? I think in our previous session, our speaker touched upon a little bit about it. So it's the bundle of thoughts, as Swami puts it beautifully. And next, the question comes, why do we even silence the mind, right? So one analogy we can think about it is what will happen if you don't silence the mind? So when we are driving, after a point of time, you may become very autonomous in driving. You get so used to the process, you know the steering wheel, you know the gas. Now your mind is engaged in a lot of thinking, a lot of random thoughts here and there. Then suddenly you will experience that you are drifting from your lane, or someone just cut you across, or you missed an exit. So you got distracted, then you missed your goal wherever you wanted to go, or you delayed your process. So the same way, our mind, which is a bundle of thoughts, if we don't silence it, if we don't streamline it, then we are distracting ourselves from the journey to realize the divine, which is always within. So in this process, Swami has beautifully helped us. So we start off with some awareness about some pollutions of the mind. Brother Sriram, please take us from here.
Yeah, no, I think, Brother Nimai, thanks for getting this rolling. Guys, I think why this session really speaks to us in one sense, at least to me, was because Swami has importantly, in the book Anyata Sharanam Nasti, he's given a very interesting definition of the word human, which we all are. And he says the H stands for, in human, stands for harboring the human values. And then he gives this important U, which the U stands for understanding the mind. Then he says M is mindful of one's duty, A is Ananda, one is full of joy, and N is Namasmarana. So this is how he gives the acronym for human, and the important U in understanding the mind, he lays a lot of emphasis. And in this regard, it is important for us to understand a lot of us sometimes, including myself at times, is waging a battle or a struggle oftentimes with what's happening internally, right? And Swami has helped us understand the mind and the psychology of the mind by giving us a fair understanding of what is actually afflicting your mind. Because Swami has given two important visuals for us in the way he's defined or described the mind. I think one visual that you all are aware of, Swami says, mind is like a mad monkey that is bitten by a scorpion. It's amazing visual to think of a mad monkey that is now bitten by a scorpion. Okay. And why has he given this description? We will just delve into right now. And the other important aspect that he says is mind is like a mirror. Okay. Mind is like a mirror and is the key. If the key of the mind is put into the lock that is the heart and turned into it, then it is a perfect conduit for our journey. If it is turned the other way around and not locked in, then it leads us to bondage and suffering. So here is a mad bitten monkey, the visual of that on one end, and then he's saying it is just simply a mirror and a key. How you use the key is going to be very important. And therefore, both of these aspects lead us to now having to understand what is truly afflicting us. So he says there are three major aspects that are afflicting us. When the mind is like a mirror, the first aspect that is afflicting the mind is dirt on the mirror. If you want to see the image of your true self, when we talked in the last episode on self-care, we began by defining what self was. And if you want to truly see an image of the self, of who you truly are, then he says, first thing that the mind, that the mirror is afflicted with is dirt. So you're not able to even see the image. That he calls as mala or impurities. And he says you are basically carrying these sort of impurities from a fair number of lifetimes in the form of innate impressions, in the form of innate tendencies, as well as qualities that give you a certain bent or the way in which you look at things, as well as observe, as well as interact and react to everything happening around you. And he says, very importantly, to get rid of this dirt on the mirror is one important aspect that we began this Sai Blossoms journey on. Very importantly, there are a lot of techniques, but one that he lays a lot of emphasis on is how are you feeding the mind? And how are you feeding the body? Because he says what you gross in the form of food that you put in grossly as in the form of food affects your mind. The mind and the body are very closely interlinked, and the gross food has a lot of impact on the mind and the thoughts that you mentioned, Nimai, that arise in it, and what kinds of thoughts. And that's why we began with that first session led by Dr. Hari. On the importance of eating right. Because if we don't get that first step right, Swami says you're going to be afflicted with this mala or, impurities. And these are not just from the gross food, but also the food that's brought in through the senses. You guys are well schooled on all of this. So the 5 senses, feeding them right is also important, along with the kind of purity with respect to food that we take in. And that's where we began this journey on. The next aspect that he says that the mirror is afflicted with is not only is there dirt covering it, but it's wavering or shaking. So in a mirror that's shaking and wavering, apart from being covered with dirt, he says it gets harder. And this I can relate to a lot. The unsteadiness or the clutter in my head, a lot of times, that afflicts personally me as well from time to time. There are one too many things going on, one too many thoughts, not able to truly steady myself, like you mentioned, Nimai. And so this is the other aspect called vikshepa, the unsteadiness. And so you're not truly be able to see the reflection of your true self in the mirror as a result of this. And he says that meditation is an important aspect of controlling it, but en route to it, he has given us, importantly, Swami has given us the way of the Kali Yuga. Keeping the name of the Lord on the lips helps with actually channelizing this wayward monkey. The monkey is the waywardness, and the madness and the bitten aspect will come to it. So, okay, the madness you could probably think is the mala or the dirt. Okay, the monkey aspect is this wavering nature. And the third pollution that afflicts the mirror of the mind is, next slide, is avarna. Okay, avarna is what makes this monkey that is bitten by what? These are the things that the monkey is absolutely consumed or bitten by. This sort of covering, Swami says, the mirror of the mind not only is shaking and has dirt, but is now covered by what? He says covered by these vices, which all stem from the intrinsic vice of desire, especially when desire becomes very strong, an outward desire versus the desire to turn inward. When any sort of outward desire starts to take strong shape and form, it then translates itself into these vices, which act as coverings on this mirror. So these are the 3 aspects of the mirror: the dirt, the shaking in the mirror, as well as the coverings on the mirror that are preventing us from truly being able to see ourselves for who we truly are, which the mind is a useful conduit for. And therefore, it begs the question, what do we need to silence? Brother Al, when we did our dress rehearsal, challenged us and asked us, hey, what do you truly need to silence? If the mind by itself as an instrument is useful, and Swami is saying so, if you know how to use it, what do you need to silence? It's these aspects that you need to silence. And so Brother Al and Sister Roseanne, I think from here on will take us through a beautiful experiential journey for us to actually experience all of this, and the 3 steps that Nimai laid out in concentration, contemplation, and meditation. Sairam.
Thank you very much, Brother Sriram. I truly remember my journey during the pandemic days when I took this process very seriously and went into the daily practice and the steps that Swami has outlined. I was able to, I don't know how it happened, but it just happened. Like as Swami says, let go. before practicing these experiences, like this spiritual discipline, I would try to put effort to let go, but it would not happen. But just by doing this, it just naturally happened. I think the beautiful analogy is, as Swami says, when we watch in a movie theater, there's a white screen and the image is projected on it. And often we are concentrating on the moving temporary image, but we forget the white screen behind it. So now we will go through an exercise. Our amazing guest speaker will lead us through that process. How do we bring the fluttering or the random thoughts of this mind into a focused concentration? Then we'll move on to contemplation and meditation. So with that, I would like to request our guest speaker.
Thank you so much. Sairam to everyone. We place ourselves lovingly at the feet of our beloved Lord Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, who, since my life started in his teachings in 1971, before you were even a twinkle in your parents' eyes, or maybe they were twinkles in your grandparents' eyes. But we've been with Swami since then, and at least in my life, and a little later for Roseanne. And then from 1975, when the Sathya Sai, Sri Sathya Sai International Organization started, we were part of that. We were officers in that, off and on in different roles. To this date, and in a certain point, we were living at Prashanti Nilayam in 88, 89, before we got married. And Swami, people were coming to my room that I was in. And Swami told people, don't go to the room. You can't go to the room and learn to meditate. And so he gave us a shed in the back, and from 10 to 11 a.m. after darshan, both Roseanne and I would lead everybody in the various forms of meditation, concentration, namasmarana, and other mantras that Swami had given, Gayatri and Sai Gayatri, and others practices that were very practical in concentration, contemplation, and meditation. We're going to do 21 ohms in a minute, but Roseanne would like to speak on concentration first.
Swami gave a really wonderful talk while we were there in, I believe it was June 1989, about the process, especially of dharana, concentration. And anyone, find it and read it. It's excellent. Basically, what he said that the saints, like Ramana Maharshi, would look at a star and they would just concentrate on it. And you realize that Ramana Maharshi was already liberated years before, and he was still doing concentration exercises. So it's very telling what the saints, they don't let themselves go. They really keep at it, and that in that way we have to keep at it. So the concentration, it could be on a candle flame, like in the light meditation, the Jyoti meditation that Sai Baba teaches, or it could be on oming. It could be looking at a star. It could be looking at a point. It's just concentrating the mind. And what he said was, if you can concentrate it for, I always forget the exact amount of time, something like 8 seconds, 12 seconds, 11 seconds. Oh, and on the thumb. He had all the students looking at their thumbs.
It was a very funny event. The students, we were walking around the ashram like this. So, where's your 11 seconds? Oh, I have to do it between classes.
So it's a basically Sai Baba says it's below the senses. It's using the senses and concentrating them on one thing. And most of us are pretty good at that. because you learn how to study at school, you learn how to drive, it's basically that kind of thing where you just know how to concentrate. And so the spiritual part of it is making that concentration deeper and deeper and for more longer time. So if you have one dharana and then you have 2.5 minutes of concentration without thoughts coming in, if you could do that, then you're in meditation. And if you can do that amount of concentration for 23 minutes, I think it was, you're in samadhi. So it's very, very mathematical the way he laid it out. Now, he also just because the mind is what it is, all sorts of things will come up. And even if you had it, you get really good at it for a certain amount of time, then he'll test you a little, check the nail, if the nail in the wall is good enough for the picture, and give you something to worry about. And so you feel like you're starting all over again, but it's just actually just harder. And so always feel like don't judge yourself. That's the main thing. What he said, to Al at some point when Al asked about anger, he says, bubbles. Sai Baba said, it's bubbles. Like we get so upset about all of our foibles. We just are always worried about things. We have so much guilt and so many worries and get distracted and also give up. And never give up. That's what I would say is the main thing. Just never give up. So we're going to do 21 ohms.
Well, we'll do dharana first.
Oh, you want to do dharana before?
Yeah, you can lead that one.
Okay, we're going to do a dharana and so
I just would like you to understand that when you do dharana, your eyes are open, and the idea is to not have a thought. But we're going to have thoughts, because you need a thorn to take out a thorn, first of all. So you need to use the mind in the proper way to alleviate the mind, you might say. But the fact of the matter is, you just let thoughts be there. But when you realize, I'm not focused, if you have to have anything in the mind, let it be Om. Let Om be in the mind. And also, this is the principle of all meditation, and it's a very important principle. We never fight the mind. We never struggle with the mind. We don't want to give it any energy in that particular way. That gives it energy. So struggling and fighting is a form of repression, and eventually we don't want to engage in repression. So you want to actually let the mind do what the mind does. And when you realize, I'm not thinking Om, or I'm not empty, because dharana is kind of emptying the mind in a gaze without blinking. Then you just gently, easily, effortlessly, as easy as it can be, as if you're handling a newborn baby, you come back to the point of focus, the point of concentration, without criticizing yourself or your mind for wandering away. Believe me when I tell you, it took 20-something years for my mind not to wander. And even to this day, if something bothers me from work or some situation happened, whatever the case may be in the world or with my friends or family, whatever it may be, if it bothers me, my mind is going to be disturbed and it's going to get shaky, as Brother Sriram pointed out. So I wait. I just sit. I wait. I let Baba do it, because if some of you are just starting on this path of sadhana, maybe some of you are way more advanced because maybe your families were Sai devotees, or maybe you've been practicing Swami's teachings for quite a while, and maybe you've been even meditating upon them, doing japa and all the things that Swami says to do with seva and love and action and selfless service, and don't be attached to the fruits. But if you're just beginning, don't worry, because all you have to do is start. God is the only doer. There's nobody else, no one else. If you think of God as being embodied by Sathya Sai Baba, then Sathya Sai Baba is the only doer. If you think of God as being the absolute, unmanifest, beyond name, beyond form, that is the only doer. If you think of God as being Shiva or Krishna or Jesus or someone else who fully embodied full consciousness, Brahman consciousness, one with the absolute, then that's fine too. But they are the doer. God is the only doer, and the embodiments of God are the only doer if you, that embodiment which you adore. Sai Baba, for me, is the only doer. And he even said that to me. He said that to a lot of us, Roseanne too. And so who is it that's concentrating within you? For me, when my mind's going, I say, oh, my mind is a liar. My mind hides the truth. I'm not going to believe my mind. I don't believe anything my mind says anymore. It doesn't perceive reality. So why should I be led astray by it? But you have to respect the mind to get to the point where you say your mind's a liar and I'm not listening to you anymore. Because there's the intuition, the higher mind, Buddhi. And then, of course, for the great ones, the Yanis, fully aham brahmasmi, fully one with the absolute, they even, that Buddhi has dissolved into the absolute. But we're at the beginning of this path. So when our mind wanders away, we gently, easily, and effortlessly come back without criticism or judgment. When we do dharana, if the mind is there, we come back gently, easily, and effortlessly to Om. Not even a name or a form other than Om, because that creates more mind in the moment, and dharana is less mind. When I first did dharana, I sat down, I gazed at a candle. I was 22 years old, and I just started meditating in Swami's way. I just started it. I had been doing some other meditation, which was not really very good, but I had been doing something else for a couple of years. But when I finally sat down and did Swami's meditation from a book, and I did the dharana, a great infinite expanse came into my consciousness, and I started getting absorbed by it. And I got so scared. I wish that would happen again. Now, I sat down within 10 seconds that happened, or maybe 30. But whatever the case may be, that was the carrot on the stick, and that kept me going. But whatever the case may be, don't be afraid of it. It's God's the one that's doing everything inside. Concentrating, contemplating, meditating, it's only God. So let that happen. Let that process unfold. Let that surrender to the doer within you, the meditator within you. Let that happen. So let's do dharana for a moment. Pick a spot, any spot in your room, or a candle flame if you have one, or a picture, a photo of Swami or some other great being of love that you adore. And just open-eyed gazing at it. So let's do that let's do it for like 30 seconds to begin with. And then we'll do it a little longer after that. So let's begin. Okay, very good. So if you allow yourself the mind to be fixed on a point, it starts to empty. And the problem with the mind's emptying is it always wants to fill itself with some thought or feeling. There's a little trick that the yogis use. They hold their breath. That's why they do pranayama, for breath control and holding their breath, because holding your breath, the mind will slow down. And it even will disappear in a moment because it thinks your body's dying. So it's like a little trick that the yogis use. So in dharana, for the first few moments of it, you can hold your breath if your mind's very active. So let's try that again now for 2 minutes. See what your mind does. And when it wanders away and you realize it, that it's thinking about other things and you're not emptying it, just bring it back gently, easily, effortlessly to the point of focus with open eyes. And as Roseanne pointed out, Ramana Maharshi used to do this with a star. The whole universe would turn white. So, and then beyond that. Let's go. Very good. Okay, just the attempt to do that is a great stride in sadhana. It's a very deep stride. The idea is to be able to do it for 2.5 minutes ultimately, and you can use any method of timing that you like that is not disturbing you or shocking you. But maybe you noticed that at some point, the mind just sort of settled down and you might have felt something else inside, a peace welling up. The thing about silence is that it's always there. The mind, there's no such thing as the mind in reality. It doesn't have any substance in reality. It's a bunch of thoughts, desires, attachments, opinions, reactions, memories, and they're all in a bundle of constant loop tapes. And they don't really exist at all. But the body mind, you can't have a mind without a body, and if you can't have a mind, body without a mind. It's not possible, except for a liberated being, one who is beyond the mind. But even the liberated beings who are fully liberated still perceive thought and feeling, because they're a radio receiver for all other people's thoughts and feelings. Swami would often look at us and shake his head like, don't think that, And for those people that could be with him for a little while in a bhajan or something like that in the mandir, he would constantly be doing that. And you'd think, oh, why did he look at me? But then you'd think, oh, I didn't have a good thought. That was not a good thought. Now, one other thing to think about, sadhana is a lifelong process, but it only takes a few years to actually start really seriously following Swami's teachings. It just takes a few years to control the mind enough to feel the transcendent reality of meditation beyond the mind, if you're serious. And it all depends on your intensity and seriousness, and also what you do in between, meditating work. Are you really not attached to the fruits of your actions, or are you waiting for your salary based on your performance and you're dependent upon it? Or do you leave it to Swami or Krishna to give you what you deserve as you make your best efforts and leave the rest to God? That's the path of sadhana in part, nishkama karma. But the fact is, we've been doing this for 50 years. And we're not fully there. It's not anywhere near fully there. But we don't give up. And the reason for me, anyway, I can't say for Roseanne, she's a very pure being, but I'm not. I wasn't. So, along the way, I had this kind of tendency, I had that type of tendency, and it always got in the way of my sadhana. But the fact is, those were vasanas that I eventually gave up. And you too, take your time, be patient, have forbearance. Once you start on this path, Swami's in charge. He's the doer. Also, the timing is completely up to your past and the grace of God, based on your effort and sincerity and intensity. And only God knows when that time will be that the coconut cracks open and you're free. Only God. But also, basically, Swami makes householder devotees wait a really long time for the fullness of, the experience of oneness. Because he said to Sam Weiss once, Sam said, I want to experience what you experienced, Swami. And Swami said, if I give you that experience, you're never going to want to go back to your family or your job. You won't care if they're supported or not. You'll just be in bliss and peace, and you'll want to stay there. So I'm not giving it to you. not yet, eventually. But the fact of the matter is, have forbearance and patience, because frustration tolerance in this world requires extreme forbearance and patience with ourselves and with everyone else. Everybody's on this path. Nobody's not on the path. It's just a matter of time. Everybody's God. Everyone, everything, everywhere, all the time. Be patient with it, and be patient with your mind, because that is the container of the material world. And that material world likes to hang on like glue. And so you just do your sadhana. That's the glue dissolve. Meditation works that way. Now we're going to do, you want to add anything? Okay. We're going to do 21 ohms. The first time I ever really experienced God was doing 21 ohms. I mean, I was in darshan, but this is like on my own in Florida at college. And the way it happened then was because I did it with real intensity. I just was desperate. I didn't know that God existed or not. I was kind of agnostic. And I didn't want to go on the path of sadhana until I absolutely knew God existed. So I managed to do some things that made me as open as possible and guarantee that I was, seeking God, and I did find that God did exist. So the process of 21 ohms should be done with great intensity, great focus. And if you get involved in it with the voice, and you get involved with it with the feeling from your heart center, where you point to yourself as me, everybody points here. That's because God's there in everyone. You don't, when you say me, you don't point to your head, or you don't point to your elbow. Where are you? Who am I? You say me. I'm here. So everybody does. So the fact is, do it with that type of intensity. And we're going to do it in such a way that it lasts a long time, and then there's going to be a silence. Because part of the ohm is silence. The period between two ohms has to be measured silence. So we're going to do it that way. So be patient with it. I suggest you do it in your own room, focused, and not with any distractions at all. So the best thing to do with a telephone these days, iPhones and all those phones, take a 9-inch nail and hammer it right into a tree and let it be there.
They might be watching this on your phone.
But if you're on your phone, then keep it for that purpose. I'm sorry. But don't let the phone take over your life, because it wants to. All that advertising. All right, let's go. So you can close your eyes and just focus within your heart center as you follow these ohms. And please do it out loud in your own room, if you can. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Rest in the peace within yourself with eyes closed just for a moment. There's a treasure house within your heart, within your soul. It's a treasure chest full of peace and love and the golden light, the heart of God. It's an ocean of love that the entire universe sits in. And it's within your heart center, the gateway to your soul. Meditation, concentration, contemplation, and the transcendence of the mind, which is called meditation, consciousness. The whole process is named after that, is digging that well to the buried treasure within your own being that brings bliss, and peace, and happiness, independent of anything and everything that is going on around you in this world. And it's very real. And concentration is so easy, it's just like studying. Concentration doesn't mean eliminating the mind. It means letting the mind go, letting the thoughts and feelings go. Who is it that can report on the thoughts and feelings in your mind? Who is that within you? The observer of that, those thoughts and feelings, is consciousness. And we are that consciousness, and even beyond that, the source of consciousness. Let's be just with the consciousness for now. We're the observing witness, because if you can observe something and report on something, then you're obviously not that. You can watch your body grow older, and still inside you feel young. I only feel 25, 27, something around there, maybe 30. So be with that. Be with that. Be with that. Which brings us to the next stage of contemplation.
Hope you notice while you're oming that the energy when you're saying the om, it's coming from your heart, and then that sound, it goes up to the top of your head. Really concentrate on it. Let it really fill you. Contemplation is the next stage. So when we've concentrated our mind and it's fairly even keeled, then the next step is contemplation. And Sai Baba has given us a lot of different ways of contemplating. It's that state that's in between. It's above the senses, but not as much as meditation, which is totally above the senses. So it's combining the senses with what's beyond. The purity that we really are, that we've always been, is like was discussed. It's just there's some dust covering it. And so when we do these exercises, we're uncovering this perfection that's within us. My first experience with meditation was in, I had taken that Hatha yoga course in college, and then the next year I was having some emotional problems, and so I decided to sit down and meditate, which the teacher had taught us at the end of the class every week. And I sat down, and I don't remember, I think I said a mantra, I don't remember what I did, but at any rate, as God is very kind and wants to hook us into what our real path is, I had the experience of knowing that I wasn't my mind and my emotions and my thoughts, and that there was something or someone, some presence compassionately watching all the drama. And so from then on, I just meditated every day. I'd wake up at 6:30. I changed my life. I get up when the sun came up, and I meditate every morning. And that got deeper and deeper. And I prayed for teacher, and Sai Baba came along and gave me a very spectacular vision, and I knew he was the one. And so I was very, very fortunate that I didn't waste any time. I just went straight towards him. And so just the feeling in meditation of contemplation is when, we're doing the mantra, or we're looking at the light, the candle flame, or we're saying our ohms. There's something that happens that goes beyond the mind, and we just go into a really sweet and peaceful state. Now, as Sai Baba devotees, the easiest thing to do is to think about him. So the name and form type of meditation is very easy. We have great love for him. He's blessed us and our families, and you've probably all heard lots and lots of stories, and everyone's waiting for Prema Sai to come. And this love that he embodies, he's just the Lord of the universe come into this body, and he would be loving us. You could be in the 40th row, but there was some amazing thing happening. And this love that he is in meditation what we can tune into to go beyond the mind. Once we've gotten to a point of concentrating, you can concentrate on looking at his feet, his beautiful feet, or his beautiful robe, or his face, his eyes, his hands. And there's all these wonderful feelings that come up of love and of peace when we think of his form. And that's contemplation, where we become immersed. First we're just thinking about, his feet, but then think how wonderful and how much love, the divine love, of taking Padamaskar, and just the oneness of giving our love to Baba when we touch his feet, and the love that he pours back into us, and how we become one. And we can do that in our meditation process. We can do that. We don't need his form because he's everywhere. There's nowhere where he's not. He's the Lord of the universe. So that's the easiest one. And then there's so many others that we go, the Soham, we can do that. And then it's all about the feelings that come, the feelings of love that come when we're in this process.
We're going to start meditating in a moment.
Yeah.
One thing that's very important, all the thoughts and feelings are like clouds in the sky of consciousness. You are consciousness. You're the sky. And even beyond that, the sky only exists because the sun shines in the air that's reflected on the earth. The sky is a reflection of the sun, just like we are reflections of God. We're not separate from God. We're raindrops that have evaporated from the ocean of God and think they're individualized, but we're not, because the raindrops contain the ocean, and as they return to the ocean, they become the ocean. That's who we are. If you believe that we're separate individuals and that we have separate doership, we have separate this and desires and separate everything, that's ego. And that's exactly what Swami is helping, or God in any form, helps us dissolve. And that's what meditation does. It lets go of that. So meditation is a letting go process, ultimately revealing that behind all thoughts and feelings is the silence of the mind. And that silence starts to seep through. And if you focus on that silence deliberately and say inside, God, you're the meditator. You meditate within me. It's much easier. So let's meditate now together. And we'll say 3 O's. And then we'll do a shortened meditation for about 15 minutes, all right? Roseanne will start it, and we'll Om 3 times to begin.
Check your posture. Make sure that your back is straight, your head is straight. Make sure your shoulders, or just let them relax. Everything relaxed. Body is relaxed, but totally erect. Feel in your heart center, in the center of the chest. Love that is always within us. Get a deep breath and feel this love. Breathe out. Concentrate on your breath. Breathe in, and you could hear the sound. So, as you inhale, hold it a second, and breathe out. Hum. I am that. I am. Breathe it again. So, hold it. Breathe out. Hum. Breathe it again. So, breathe out. Hum. I am. Do this on your own for a few minutes. Concentrate very, very strongly.
Just mentally, not verbally. Now feel the peace within you and think this way. Who am I? Who is it that observes the thoughts and feelings as they flow through my mind? Who am I really? What's my relationship to God? What's my relationship to my soul? Who was I before this birth? And after this birth, who am I? That's contemplation. Think about how Sai Baba lives that truth, how he leads us, or your own Ishta Devata, divine form that you adore, or beyond that, the formless. What's my relationship, and how is that being leading me home, leading me back to truth, to love, to life, the divine life? Think on that for a moment. This is contemplation. But when the mind wanders and thinks about what it's going to do tomorrow, or for dinner, or for, later in the night, just come back gently, easily, effortlessly, and let it dwell on Om or any name of God as you contemplate. What's your relationship? Who am I really? Now imagine that within your heart center is a golden sun. It starts out very small, and it's like the light of a candle. That's the smallness of it, but it becomes bigger and brighter. And go beyond the breath and let the mind dwell on Om, with a favorite name of God that you adore. At least Om. Let go of everything else. Let go of what you think you are. Let go of who others think you are. Find the true you. Inside this golden light, as the mind dwells on Om, bring it back wherever it wanders away. Bring it back gently, easily, effortlessly, when you realize it, to Om, in this light of love that fills you, fills your heart center, and that circulates through every cell and atom of the temple of this body. If you can. Otherwise, just stay where it's comfortable. I am that I am. Light of love. It's magnified in me by the power of Om in my mind. The Om from which all thoughts and feelings come. The Om, source of all sound, all energy, all being. I am that I am. Imagine as the body feels like an empty glass with light and love, every cell and atom touched, through the neck and head, to the forehead. The sun at dawn sits in the forehead. Don't go out. Just sit there within it. The sun at dawn, visualize in your forehead, just as it has just lifted above the horizon. Just visualize that. We've seen it millions of times. And now watch it rise within your inner mind's eye to high noon at the top of the head. Imagine the sun traversing the inner sky of consciousness that you are. It sits within you and outside also at the top of the head. Visualize it there. The whole temple automatically lights up. The divine love, the light of love of God. I am that I am. Let go of everything else. Just continue letting go into that. The home and the light of love that you are. The crown of love that sits on top of your head. As the sun shines upon you at high noon, and within you, shining forth at high noon. Oh. And for those that want to go one step further, if you like, think this way. Sai Baba told us this truth many times. We were never born and we will never die. We are eternal beings of love. We are the eternal embodied. We were never born and we will never die. All of creation is born and dies. From the Big Bang onward, and someday turns back into itself as it dissolves. But we never have. Before all of creation, you are that. You were never born and you will never die. Who are you really? I am that I am. Source, the eternal, the absolute. We were never born. We will never die. I am that I am. Let everything else go. Let everything from the Big Bang onward go. It's not who you really are. I am that I am. I was never born. The real me will never die. Let the world go. It can take care of itself. God's in charge. We are the observers. We are the witness. We are the truth that sets us free. We were never born and we will never die. Brahmasmi. We have to function in this world. We have a role to play of love embodied, love in action. So breathe this consciousness back into the heart center, the altar in the temple of the body. These bodies are only school bodies. These bodies are here to love all and serve all. These bodies are here to do God's will, to do God's work, transform this earth to a place of love and peace, which Sathya Sai Baba guaranteed would happen within this next 100 years. Guaranteed it. He said, my will is like iron, and what I will, even if the entire universe stands up against me, no one can change what I will. It will come to pass. This new age, golden age of God on earth, and you all will witness it. Be part of it. Love in action. peace in action, non-violence in action, Dharma in action, as best you can. Non-violence in action, thought, word, and deed, as best we can. So breathe it into heart center, coming back in there. We'll say 3 Oms. Peace in this world and all beings to be happy. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, Brahma. Thank you, God. You are the only doer. I will be done.
We all want to bask in that silence for some time. So what I want to do now is I'll just leave this screen. Just let's reflect. Continue with that moment of silence. We shared a pre-task before this session for everyone to practice something, to journey through the senses. Just reflect a few moments. What was the biggest challenge in becoming aware of the silence behind the thoughts and feelings of the mind? Just take that moment to reflect within. And after the session today, whatever you experienced, what changes did you notice? You might have come here with some expectation and you experienced something, but you must have noticed some difference. Just observe that. And what's one thing from today's session that you will take forward? One practice, one idea, one discipline to implement. Now we'll just move on to the next, which we have Q&A session. We have asked some questions ahead of the session, and thank you for those who have shared the questions through our polls. And I'll hand over to Brother Sriram to take us forward with those questions.
Before getting into the questions, I think thank you to Brother Al and Sister Roseanne. I think I for one for sure experienced a profound silence and a certain indescribable joy. And I'm very indebted to you guys and Swami for this session. It was very different from the sessions we've had thus far, but it was very enlightening all the same. So with that being said, Brother Al, you took us to new heights. I think the questions are steeped in pragmatism that come at you. It's steeped from a place of, you talked about the ego identity. A lot of us are still mired in that, and silencing the mind from that realm is where these questions are coming at you from. So with that being said, I found them to be all of them to be very practical. So without further ado, let me just jump into them. The first one is, why is it so hard to maintain a meditation practice? You took us to an amazing high in every sense of the term. Why is it then so hard to maintain a meditation practice? Is that first question that's come in.
You want to answer?
You just have to keep persevering. Baba said that, if we do the same time every day, early is better. If we persist in it, he will give us some experience to help us keep going. There is a certain point. I had meditated from when I was, I guess, 20 to when I had my first child at 40. And I didn't really meditate a lot. I had 2 children. It was just sitting. They were very lively children. They got up every 2 hours. And I did not sit and meditate formally, but I had meditated so long that I sort of could do it just in my everyday consciousness. So it's good to start early before you have a lot of responsibilities. We always have responsibilities, but there's certain ones that are unavoidable, like screaming children. So it just depends on what our life is. I mean, if we go to work at the same time every day, we can get up and meditate.
Similar to brushing your teeth.
Right.
We brush the mind and clean the mind. Every day we wouldn't be without brushing our teeth or taking a shower perhaps every other day or every day. It's part of the routine. You eat at least once a day. We eat once a day to feed the body. Meditation feeds the soul, makes the soul bigger and bigger and bigger. It starts out like a spark. And when you start meditating, it becomes a flame, and then it becomes like the sun, and then it becomes like all-consuming. And that's the process of meditation. That's what it brings. Swami had me going to 2 graduate schools at once. I don't know why. And then they added a 3rd. And I still managed to meditate at least 20 minutes once or twice a day, which Swami recommends 20 to 30 minutes at least once or twice a day. And now it's easy because I just get up and meditate.
I found that in the beginning, especially when I was concentrating on my breath, it was really hard. So I had been able to meditate just sort of on a mantra for a while. And then at some point, my breathing, the Soham, I added that. And that was hard. At first, I could only do 10 minutes. And then it got longer and longer, and it was easier. So it's just being patient with yourself, but just sitting. You have to make a time when you sit and you have to get up. And that's just the way it is.
All right, next question.
I think also what that helped was, I think, Brother Al, apart from what Sister Roseanne mentioned of creating, making it a part of your day, I think the other aspect that helped that you talked about was, not being hard on yourself when you're not able to truly be present and meditate, and allowing yourself to come back in and not judging yourself. I found that very helpful as well today. The next question, that came in was how to keep the mind fully focused and immersed in just one task at a time, away from all other activities, especially when you have multiple priorities and are juggling different roles like parenting, work, personal, and organizational hats, wherein each of them need thoughtful planning and consideration in terms of your time and energy. And you just feel there's not enough time and energy to do full justice to all of it. So how do you keep, under this sort of a context, how do you keep the mind fully focused and immersed in just one task at a time, away from all other activities?
Okay, we're humans. We're not animals, we're not demons, we're humans. As humans, mind has to globally think about all these things and order them and structure them. That's part of the mind's process. And the ego, the lower mind, puts the desires on that, but the higher mind keeps it organized. So we go from lower mind to higher mind. We go from manas to buddhi. So the fact is, in the moment, there's only one thing that you can do. We don't have 4 arms or 6 or, omnipresence. We can do one thing at a time. In the moment, focus on that one thing, accomplish it. If you have to watch the kids, keep it, part of your sense of where the kids are, if they're at home, or what else has to happen in the day, but in the moment, do the one thing and do it for God. And let God do it. I don't do anything. There's nothing that I do. God does everything. It's his responsibility, her responsibility, no one else's. And if it doesn't happen, that's God's problem, not my problem. I'm just sitting there.
Perfect. I think the next question is how and where to begin learning the art and science of making my mind contemplative, like you mentioned, since it's not very natural for me just yet. And the person provides more context. Person says, I for one seem to be able to reflect for small durations once in a while, especially when things go wrong, but I'm not able to be truly contemplative on a constant or a frequent basis for any extended period of time, despite accessing Sai literature or talks on a near constant basis. Could it be that I haven't trained myself to be in this state and I'm not sure how and where to start to make it a way of life?
Contemplation is not the goal. Contemplation is the process, and the process is in the moment. And we have to focus on what our job is, so that's concentrating, or what we have to learn, that's concentrating. Contemplative is a stage that allows the mind to let go of our desires and attachments, our tasks, and just be. And in that process of just being, we can actually transcend the mind. That's transcendence of the mind is not the goal either. But it is deeper and closer to the reality. And what is the goal? The goal is knowing who we really are, that we are God incarnate, nothing else, nothing less than that. We're the ocean incarnate. Now, what does that really mean? In comparison to the almighty God that is the creator of the entire universe, it's like God in ant form compared to God in, Sathya Sai Baba or Krishna, or even beyond Krishna's body and Sai Baba's body. That's just incomprehensible. And Swami says there's no way to understand me, even if you spent 1,000 lifetimes contemplating with 1,000 million people, you would still not understand me. So just have faith.
So during meditation, the part, how we were talking, that's how you talk to yourself. You don't like have the concentration and then it just ends, and then unless you've been a yogi in a lot of lives, but I think even then you have to have a little bit of time when your mind is thinking divine thoughts. And so what Al was doing, or what I was doing in the meditation was really all contemplation. Who am I, or how much I love Baba, or how thankful I am. The other part of what you were saying was that the contemplating what Baba's saying is I believe it's called manana, where we listen to a talk and then we think about it and then we put it into practice. And that's something we just have to make time for. But the contemplation part of meditation is that in between where we transition from concentrating on something into thinking divine, wonderful, happy thoughts, loving thoughts. And that we have to sort of just figure out in our own mind, like what works for us and what God, like let God have the thoughts, let God put thoughts into our head. But we have to sort of sometimes create that situation. That's why, like in a verbally led meditation like this, we do the contemplation for you.
Yeah. So kind of sit with it and allow all the divine aspects as well as thoughts to and just keep soaking yourself in it. In one sense.
I'm going to leave you with this thought and the closing moments of this meeting, which thank you for inviting us and thank God for having it. In order that you know Sathya Sai Baba, you know Shirdi Sai Baba, and you're going to be with Prema Sai Baba, and you're going to know Prema Sai Baba, but with Sathya Sai Baba, when Prema Sai Baba calls you, you go. There's no way that you could be a part of Sathya Sai Baba's devotees, students, however you want to call yourself or refer to yourself. There's no way you can be a part of that. He has called you to him. Unless you have done this many times in the previous births, that you have been yogis and sannyasis and saints and nuns and, monks, and you have done the seclusion in the forest, and now it's being tested in this world, in the householdership. You have the yogis, the greatest of yogis, have to have the same consciousness in the world as they did on the Himalayas or in the caves or in the jungles. Unless they can, it's not real. It's just seclusion. It's easy to be that way with yourself. Try it with another million people that are all confused about who they want to elect as a political leader.
Or 7 billion people all thinking about stuff and looking at their cell phones. And
now be
all
free.
That's in the air. It's all in the air.
You've all done it before. So have faith in yourself. Don't give up. Perseverance furthers. Patience, perseverance, persistence, with forbearance and love brings reality, compassion and empathy, love in action. Believe in yourself. That's most important. You can do.
Thank you for leaving us with believe in yourself, and we've already done the work, and now this is another chapter of putting it into play and testing ourselves. Thank you so much, Brother Al. I think the final question, and we'll wrap this session up here since we're about 4 or 5 minutes past time, is I think a question that's come in is, I find it difficult to silence my mind. You just talked about it. And find myself doom scrolling or getting very affected by sad events happening out in the world. This leads to me feeling very disorganized and confused about what I need to do. What is a tip for calming my thoughts and refocusing without feeling selfish that I'm thinking about myself when so much is happening in the world?
The best thing you can do for being peace on earth, the best thing you could do with helping people walk the path of Dharma is to know yourself. Because once you know yourself inside, then you walk automatically in the path of love and Dharma, and you automatically radiate peace, even without words. The best thing you can do is, as Sathya Sai Baba personally told us, leave the world to me, it's my problem, I'm in charge of it, you do your sadhana. Leave the world to me. You don't understand what I'm doing. My plan, no one can understand. Did anybody understand it when he put Ravana in charge of Sri Lanka? Did anybody understand it when he put Hitler, in charge of Germany and everybody else for a little while? Did anybody understand why this was happening? Does anybody understand why we have this present moment? Only God understands these things. Only God knows the reasons why and has a plan that works out always for the divine in every being and the best. Always, no matter what it looks like on the way. Leave it to God.
I think there's one more, but if you guys feel you have the time, another minute or
we
two.
Have the time. It's up to you. But
okay, I'll just lay it out there because I think it's pretty relevant. It says how to approach every situation with a fresh pair of eyes and ears, so to say, and not be colored by your previous experiences, impressions, as well as inherent feelings, especially when you encounter a situation that doesn't seem favorable, but you have to meet it head on a frequent basis.
Think how God would do it. What's God's way of doing it? What's God's viewing? God doesn't have a perspective or a viewing point. God has an omnipresent view. God has an omnipresent understanding, perspective, omnipresent perspective. Let go of whatever you think this is about and say, how does God see it? and try to align with that. Try to accept it, because it is what it is. It is what it is. You can't change it. Only God can.
But we can interpret it. So if we interpret it in the most spiritual way, in the highest way,
In the sattvic way.
in the sattvic way, then we're training our mind that whatever happens is a test. Whatever happens is for our good, our highest good. It may not look good in the moment, but we're just paying off some karma. You know, we must have done something in a life that we needed to get cut off by this car in this moment, and that we're just going to do our best.
We're all in training here. This is only a school, this earth place.
So I think we're done here. I think for the folks on the call, there is a new app that we have launched for the Sai Blossoms journey. Be on the lookout on your WhatsApp as well as from the messages from your reps and coordinators in this regard. And it'll be very useful as a tracking tool in your own sadhana. Okay, with that being said, I think we'll close off with closing prayers, and it's only befitting that Swami ends this session. So we'll do just that. Just another couple of minutes and we bring it to a close through Swami. Sai Ram.
समस्त लोग सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्त लोग सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्त लोग सुखिनो भवन्तु। शांति शांति शांति।